Sairam, Sairam, Sairam. So this is chapter 5, page number 27, and the paragraph heading is Wrestling Bout with Mohiddin Tamboli and Change in Lifestyle. Baba's lifestyle post the wrestling bout. To return to other stories of Baba, there was a wrestler in Shirdi by name Mohiddin Tamboli. Baba and he did not agree on some points, and both had a fight. In this, Baba was defeated. Thenceforth, Baba changed his dress and mode of living. He donned a kafani, wore a langot, the waistband, and covered his head with a piece of cloth. He took a piece of sack cloth for his bed and was content with the wearing of torn and worn out rags. He always said that poverty is better than kingship, far better than lordship. The Lord is always brother of the poor. Gangagir was also very fond of wrestling. Once, while he was wrestling, a similar feeling of dispassion descended over him. And at the proper time, he heard the voice of an adept saying that he should wear out his body, playing with God. So he too gave up samsara and turned towards God realization. He established a mutt on the banks of river Punatamba, near Punatamba, and lived there with his disciples. So now this is the first paragraph. What happens? Two, three things which we need to, step outside the writings within Shri Sai Satcharitra and understand what actually happened. First is Baba was not, you never used to be dressed like the way he was dressed. He is dressed and the way we see him now. Baba was dressed in a different manner. He used to have a long hair. He used to wear a kurta and then a dhoti. At times he used to wear this Hanuman kache, jo bolte hai, the dhoti which is tied like a, like a dhotar, and then the kurta. And he used to be dressed very normally, right? So this particular incident, the Mohiddin Tamboli incident, where has a bout of wrestling due to some disagreements with Mohiddin Tamboli. And he was defeated, right? So what happens is when any avatar, even an avatar, as high as even, let us say, Parashurama, or let us say Lord Rama, or let us say Lord Krishna. Classic example is Parashurama. He was defeated. He was defeated by Lord Rama. So this defeat is not literally a defeat. This is a defeat of influence of Maya. The influence of Maya descends on everybody. Maya doesn't spare even the avatars. Maya doesn't spare the Purnavatars, Anshavatars, or Karanavatars. Nobody is spared. There are two things in our whole, spiritual ecosystem, what they say. Two things which doesn't spare anybody, even the avatars. One is Maya. The other one, they say, as per the astrology, Shani. Shani and Maya are two things they will never spare anyone, even if you are the God himself. Because, for example, it was Maya, one of the Arishad Vargas of Maya, which is Moha, the attachment. Baba's attachment to Baijama and love for his mother, Baijama, makes him give a promise, makes him take an oath that I shall not allow Tatya to shed the body before I do. This is my word. So that is driven strictly by Moha, one of the, Arishad Vargas, one of the Arishad Vargas of Maya, tenets of Maya, due to which he sheds the body. Even to shed the body, you need the influence of Maya. Not for all, but what I meant is even for avatars, particularly the avatars which are there only for serving the cause of the human, human beings, serving the cause of uplifting the human beings. So the Maya strikes and then the Shani. These are the two things as per astrology, the Shani, as per philosophy, the Maya. It doesn't spare anybody. So the word called dispassion, dispassion strikes to people who have this spiritual, what do you call, the mission or the responsibilities or whatever, especially when they are confronted, physical participation of any confrontation. Suddenly, the dispassion strikes. Suddenly, many people just give up their arms. They start feeling meaningless. An avatar of Purnavatar of Adiguru Dattatreya also had to go through this bout of defeat. He had to be defeated. So, likewise, this incident also happens where suddenly Baba just drops everything. He gives up on so many of his attachments, attachments to even the righteousness. The difference between him and Mohiddin Tamboli, if you read this the Sai Leela magazine, it is very clearly mentioned in that it was based on religious belief system. Mohiddin Tamboli used to say that you are allowing Hindu practices. Be very sure, are you a Muslim or a Kafir? When this came up, Baba gets very enraged. Baba was definitely again, I mean, like definitely above and beyond religious belief systems. However, when this topic came up that you are a kafir because you are entertaining the Hindu masses to come and worship you, you are bestowing upon them, and in Dwarka Mai, you are allowing you have lit a dhuni. It is supposed to be a mosque, and there is a tulsi and all those things. Lot of these disagreements happened between Mohiddin Tamboli, who was a wrestler, and Baba. So when this happened, Baba got very enraged. He said, how shallow are you? So when that one led to another, one argument led to another, they haven't covered that because it was a conflict between the belief system, between Mohiddin Tamboli as well as Baba. So when that happened, Baba said, okay, let me settle the score. Let's have a bout of wrestling. When they pulled out, I mean, when they came into that, immediately during the wrestling in between, he says it is meaningless. It is absolutely meaningless fighting about this. So he gets defeated. He loses. And then finally he resigns. I mean, he resigns to the fact that there's no point in trying to say that all religions are one and trying to say that, you should go above and beyond the religious belief system and orthodoxy. You have to have the humanity in place. Instead of all these things, Baba just gets dispassionate and he drops all those things. And then his attire changes. Truly ascetic, just a kafani, wearing a headgear or a patka on the head is not an Islamic ritual or the practice at all. So Baba just ties a cloth on his head and a sack, and he becomes truly a fakir and completely dispassionate and deeply hurt. He's deeply hurt because of the opinions of Mohiddin Tamboli, which is so skewed and which is so narrow-minded, understandably so, coming from those days of orthodoxy. Mohiddin Tamboli was a hardcore Muslim. So anyway, we'll move on. So Baba always said he had sacrifice and was content with wearing torn and worn out rags. We have seen even in his photo, we have seen the kafnis which are hung in the museum in Shirdi, how torn and worn out kafnis Baba used to have. I mean, he used to wear. So we know it all, however. So it goes on. he always said poverty is better than kingship, far better than lordship. The Lord is always a brother of the poor. So Baba used to say ये फकीरी में जो मजा है वो अमीरी में नहीं है, in his own words. Why does Baba say that? When you are a king, when you are wealthy, king as in not in literal sense, when we are so wealthy, first we struggle to become wealthy. Then when we are wealthy, we struggle to hold on to the wealth. Then we have a fear of losing the wealth. Then the wealth which we have amassed is inadequate. So we keep amassing more and more wealth. So the mind is, instead of being focused on self inquiry and spiritual evolution, you are stuck with the worldly needs and worldly greeds, and you are totally engrossed in this. So, Baba used to say always, it's better to be a poor beggar. A poverty is better than that of a kingship. And also, he used to say that when you have nothing, God is everything for you. God will take care of you. So that is the firm belief. Baba was always against the greed of the human mind. So he says that far better lordship, far better than lordship. You have no fear of losing anything. When you are a fakir, when you are an ascetic, when you are a saint, when you are a monk, you have no fear. Fear is the biggest cause. When you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to gain, you have no selfish interest. You're not doing anything for your needs or greed. So that is how you become selfless. That is how you go closer to your true self. If you have to go true to yourself or be true to yourself, you have to be selfless. And being selfless is nishkama karma, which is nothing but desireless deed, a deed committed without any desires. When you have no desires, only then you are liberated. Only then your services rendered are accepted by the divine. You're doing things, you're helping the world without any selfish interest or selfish desires. Hence, Baba says that it is better, poverty is better than kingship, right? So we move on. The similar experience was Similar situation was experienced by Gangagir. Gangagir Bua, Ramgir Bua's uncle, was one of the greatest saints who had been in Shirdi much before even Baba came. So he used to be residing more so near Hanuman Mandir most of the time. And he also, like Baba, had a bout of wrestling where he lost the match, wrestling match. And he also chose to become an ascetic, a monk, right? And he also says, like, it's better to spend or, utilize your physical body to understand God and move on instead of wasting on worldly pleasures and fighting. It's not worth. That's how Gangagir Bu also moved on, right? So, page number 28, we move to the next paragraph. Sai Baba did not mix and speak with people. He only gave answers when he was questioned. By day, he always sat under the neem tree, sometimes in the shade of babul tree near the stream, on the outskirts of the village. In the afternoon, he used to walk at random and go at times to Neemgaon. There, he frequented the house of Bala Sahib Dengle. Baba loved Mr. Bala Sahib. His younger brother, named Nana Sahib, had no son, though he married a second wife. Bala Sahib sent Nana Sahib for taking darshan of Sai Baba. And after some time, with his grace, Nana Sahib got a son. From that time onwards, people began to come in large numbers to see Sai Baba. And his fame began to spread and reached Ahmednagar. From thence, Nana Sahib Chandorkar and Keshav Chidambar and many others began to come to Shirdi. So Baba's way, he was very quiet. He was very silent, absorbed in the thoughts of the whole universe, truly ascetic, to the point. A question is asked, a question is posed, he answers. He is always lost, he is always engrossed with the thoughts of the divine, thoughts of the whole universe. Complete state of sthita prajna, absolutely unbiased, completely untouched by any happenings in the society and the world. He is always aloof. He doesn't mingle with anybody. Only a question is posed and he answers. Further, he gets very close to, he frequented Bala Sahib Dingle. See, Baba doesn't go to anybody unless and until there is a Rinanabandha. There's always a Rinanabandha. Always we feel that, even in our lives, in everybody's lives, without having a Rinanabandha, the Shastras are very clear that we don't even exchange glances, deep look at each other if we have. That also there is a Rinanabandha. And the system in the universe, especially under the gospels of gurus and the doctrines of gurus. Just imagine Baba Sahib Dengle, Baba became close, being fully aware about what's going to happen. He becomes close, he frequents, he likes him. We just look at it superficially, but the fact is that his brother has doesn't have a child, though he married for the second time, but he did not have a child. And after some time, with the blessings of Baba, he gets a boy, he gets a child. So it's a nice story, fine. But that spreads and people from Ahmednagar, people which are who are very, very close to Baba as per when we read the Satcharita further, like even people like Nana Sahib Chandorkar, Keshav Chidambar, they all start becoming close to Baba. They start frequenting Shirdi, and how the whole system, how Baba draws all his children who were supposed to be with him. So his visit to Bala Sahib Dengle's house is just a nimitta. It is just one thing. But see the chain reactions. There is nothing which divine does without a purpose. And as I always say, there are no coincidences. That's how Baba's gospel started spreading. Once Bala Sahib Dengle's brother gets a child with the blessings of Baba, a male child. So that spreads and people start coming. So we never know who is to come, whether it is the gospel of Shirdi or to in Saipanth. How it just works. Everything has its own plans. Universe is manifesting things. Everything connecting the dots happens on its own. No anxiety, no worries. Let's just remain as we are, right? So Baba's that one miracle draws many people to Shirdi. People began to come in large numbers to see Sai Baba, and his name began to spread and reached Ahmednagar. From thence, Nana Sahib Chandrokar, Keshav Chidambar, and many others began to come to Shirdi. Baba was surrounded by his devotees during the day and slept at night in an old and dilapidated masjid. Baba's paraphernalia at this time consisted of a chilam, tobacco, a tin pot, which is a tumbrel, a long kafni, a piece of cloth around his head, and a satka, a short stick, which he always kept with him. Piece of white cloth on the head was twisted like a matted hair and flowed down from the left ear on the back. Now, Baba's style people say no. सर पे पटका, हाथ में सटका, बगल में झोली और एक कफनी, नंगे पैर निकला फकीर. This is how Baba has been defined. सर पे पटका, हाथ में सटका, बगल में झोली, पहना एक कफनी, नंगे पैर निकला फकीर. This is the attire of the master. This is the attire of the universal master, the attire of the Purnavatar of Adi Guru Shri Dattatreya, the Guru Samrat. A tobacco, pouch of tobacco, a chillam, and a tamrel, a tin pot, right? The tin, the container. So that's all was his paraphernalia. He had nothing, nothing, no worldly possessions. During the day, he was mingling with people. People used to flock to Shirdi. Baba, I have this problem, I have that problem, my child is not studying, I am not well. Endless list of woes and endless list of problems. People used to flock, and Baba used to be extremely patient. His patience was boundless. People have this misconception that he used to lose his temper. Yes, not always, but his patience had no bounds. And he used to heal everybody, listen to everybody patiently. There used to be even those days when the Baba's influence skyrocketed. People those days used to visit Shirdi in thousands every day, every day. But maybe some seasons when it used to be lean. Otherwise, every day, hundreds and thousands of people used to come to Shirdi. Who doesn't have a problem? Particularly those days when the medical facility was not much, awareness about things are not much. People are very innocent, people are ignorant, infrastructure is so low. They had to depend on somebody to take care, somebody to look after, somebody whom they can depend on. Baba used to sit and listen to hundreds and thousands of people every day, every single day, and address everyone's issues, address every single person's worries, needs, look after each one. Imagine the level of patience Baba used to have. Nowadays, I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pin down on anybody. Today's masters don't have time. They say, oh, he's busy, you have to take appointments. I have seen masters even today who visit hundreds and thousands of people, who accept, who meet hundreds and thousands of people even to this day. But true masters always have time. True masters have a lot of patience. That is how Baba used to listen to everybody. And now what happens is one question. Now, if we have this innate question, Baba is, there were so many people who comes to Baba. There are hundreds and thousands of people on a day, every day. How can he take care of everybody? How can he look after so many people? Right? This question comes. That is why we need to, that's where as yogis or avadutas, we have to understand the divine, the supreme consciousness that he is. This is where we understand Baba. He is, don't confine him to that body. And he is just one huge bundle of sankalpa. The power of sankalpa. He is just a bundle of sankalpa with those 11 sayings and promises in him. That's it. Those 11 sayings and promises, it's not explicitly written anywhere. People have asked me this question, where is it written? It's an excerpt from Shri Sai Satcharitra. But he is nothing but an embodiment, that one entity with these many assurances, and those assurances are always at play, that those sankalpas are always there. So whoever comes to him, whoever approaches him, These things are always at play. The moment somebody becomes a devotee of that particular master, that guru, and approaches that guru, these things happen by default. It is not done consciously. The sankalpas are set. Any divine, any temple we go, or any masters we visit, we may feel that karodo mein log aate hain, people come in crores and thousands and lakhs and millions. How is it that everybody gets satisfied? This is how it works. The sankalpa of healing everybody or fulfilling the needs of everybody or giving the moksha, giving them right directions and everything, bringing dark for people from darkness to light is once made and always meditated upon. Once a sankalpa is made and always consistently, a guru doesn't sit and it's just a symbolic thing that every devotee and disciple keeps approaching the guru or the master, and then everybody he's answering, he's listening to, but he doesn't have to do that. People think of him, things gets sorted. But however, but a guru's job is to set those blessings or the sankalpas, anything that you do, which you put it as a thought, which is to manifest into a reality or alter the reality, those are called as sankalpas. These sankalpas are set, and the master is consistently meditating on those sankalpas. People come, they get fulfilled. This is how the divine system works. So here we just, got this uh, information, or we deciphered that how hundreds and thousands of people who come to our guru, and each one's wishes gets fulfilled, because he has also said, shown to me one person who has come to my refuge and is being turned away. Not one person. So how does it happen? The sankalpas and consistently the master meditating on those sankalpas. People come, get fulfilled. I mean, they get their wishes fulfilled and leave. That is how the divine works, right? The piece of white cloth on the head was twisted like a matted hair and flowed down from the left ear on the back. There is a small story about this. It is believed that the white cloth which Baba tied on his head was that of his guru. The legend says that Baba's guru was hurt or attacked, and he started his forehead started bleeding profusely. That's when there was a cloth tied to his guru's head. Subsequently, before shedding the body, his guru sends him away and he gives him that cloth. That cloth is symbolically Baba wears, which is of his guru. This is a legend, cannot be substantiated with any proofs. But however, I've narrated what is a legend of what is being said, right? This was not washed for weeks. He wore no shoes, no sandals. A piece of sackcloth was his seat for most of the day. He wore a kaupina, waist cloth band, and for warding off the cold, he always sat in front of Duni, facing south, with his left hand resting on the wooden railing. In that dhuni, he offered an oblation of egoism, desires, and always uttered Allah Malik. God is the sole owner. Right. Now, this is something which is little, difficult to digest. We have to dive deep into it. So Baba used to take bath once in 3 days or here and there. But Baba always used to smell like Chandan. People who have spent time with him, they have said his body odor was always that of sandalwood. He used to smell like Chandan, though he never used to wash himself or take a shower or wash his clothes for 2, 3 days or days together, right? He wore no shoes, we know, no sandals, barefoot. A piece of sackcloth was his seat for most of the day. He wore a kaupina. Kaupina, again, is a langot, right? A kaupina is a typical cloth which is worn by the followers of Hanuman, Lord Hanuman. The legend again says, again, it is a legend. I am not in a position to give or substantiate these statements with any proofs or circumstantial evidences or proofs or whatever. However, but it is said that Baba used to wear a kaupina. When Lord Hanuman was born, he was such a brahmachari that no one, including his mother, has not seen his private part. When Lord Hanuman was born, because of the huge gush of wind, nobody could even see his private part. Likewise, it is said, the legend says, that even Baba's mother had not seen his private part. He was such a brahmachari. And typical example of such brahmacharis is that they wear kaupinas, the langots. If you see Baba, Hanumanjis, they say Hanuman Kachi. You see Gajanan Maharaj, you see Swami Samartha, Pakkalput. No one. Everybody used to wear kaupina. It's only one difference is that Baba used to wear kafni. Others used to just wear kaupina. That's it. Nothing else on themselves. But the Ajanma Brahmacharya. So this is a legend which speaks about the story of Lord Hanuman as well as Sri Sainath Maharaj. That even the mother, it's not about it is something wrong or bad. It is talking about the Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, that the supreme level of Brahmacharya was what Sri Sainath Maharaj was. As Brahmachari as Lord Hanuman himself. And we all know Baba's Kuladevata was Lord Hanuman himself, right? And the other thing is, it says that Baba, to ward off the cold, he always sat in front of Dhuni, facing south, the sacred fire called the Dhuni, with his left hand resting on the wooden railing. And in the Dhuni, he offered oblations of egoism, desires, and always uttered Allah Malik. See, Dhuni in a place like Shirdi, which is not very cold, Baba did not have to light it and maintain it 365 days, 24 bar 7, keeping it burning all the time just to keep himself warm. This is something which we have to just take it with a pinch of salt. What is a dhuni? The first thing started, first a ritual which started when the Homo sapiens from being ignorant and became learned, or they started the first offerings to the higher beings was through fire. The first thing that started, the worship of Nirguna Nirakara Brahma started with Havana. The first way of worship was first, as in when we became, let us say, enlightened. The first thing the rishis, maharshis, the Sapta rishis, they performed was Havan. Baba in Shirdi, sitting in Dwarka Mai, did not light the fire to ward off cold. That region of Maharashtra, it's not very cold. And summer is pretty bad. It's very hot. So it's not to ward off the cold. The fact is that he started a Havan. He started eternal Havan there in Shirdi. That is what is happening even to this day. The sacred ash that comes out of that Havan is the greatest of prasad, and the miracles which have occurred because of those, people consuming that sacred ash of Shirdi is endless. We know it. Baba started a Havan there, which is going to last as long as the world lasts. For Saipanthis, the Avadhutas of Shunya Kriya and Saipanth, Havan is extremely important because our master did it and he started that. And when we do our rituals of Havan, we know how we start the fire, right? So Baba started an eternal Havan in Dwarkamai. It was not to ward off the cold. And as he says, as Shri Dabodkar writes, he says that he offered oblation of egoism and desires, of course. Not just that, worries, miseries of his devotees and disciples. Havans, please understand when you do the Havans, everything in this spiritual processes is based on one thing, which is called the Sankalpa. The work of the Havan or the fire is to ensure that the Sankalpa manifests into reality by sending these Sankalpas into the whole universe. That is exactly what happens in Havans. You have a Sankalpa, whether it is good or bad, doesn't matter. Whether you are performing it for the betterment of somebody or to harm of somebody, doesn't matter. It is your Sankalpa which matters. But of course, not many do. Or, but for some of these negative people, they do the havans which to harm people, harm others. But this havan is extremely important and it is an integral part of Avadhuta Sampradaya, Kulavadhuta Sampradaya. Our master started eternal havan in Shirdi. It's not just a word of cold that he lit the fire there, right? That's we have to be very clear about it. And he always uttered Allah Malik. God is the sole owner. The masjid in which he sat was only two-room dimensions. We all have seen it, where all the devotees came and saw him. After 1912, there was a change. The old masjid was repaired and the pavement was constructed. Before Baba came to live in this masjid, he lived for a long time in a place called Takia, where with ghungru, that is a small bells, tied to his ankles, Baba danced beautifully and sang with tender love. Now, where is the Takia? Is right next to Dwarkamai. His, there is the place where between Hanuman Mandir and Dwarkamai, there is a place where they store all the firewood for Dhuni today, as of today. That was Takia. So it is attached to Dwarkamai. And subsequently, the courtyard was built, the steps were made, and these are small, small informations about how the masjid was refurbished. This happened after 1912, right? This further at the end of the paragraph, abruptly it speaks about he lived for a long time in a place called Takia, where with ghungrus, that small bells tied to his ankle, Baba danced beautifully and sang with tender love. Now we need to understand how deep was Baba's voice. He had a beautiful voice. His voice used to emanate from Anahata Chakra, not from Vishuddha. He had a very heavy, very deep voice. It used to resound when he used to speak. He used to speak in beautiful Marathi, which is like in that region of Maharashtra, the Marathi sounds like Sanskrit. and his voice was very heavy, and he used to sing extremely beautiful. His voice was so deep, and he used to sing and he used to dance. That is further, as we go forward, Baba's life, how he used to enjoy things, how he used to interact with people. That comes in further stories of Sri Sai, right? Thank you very much. Thanks for your patient hearing. Sai.